Ladies and gentlemen, a very, very, very big welcome to week 10. Today we are going to be talking about the strategic management of IS and IT services and IT infrastructure. It is basically getting towards the end. Next week's going to be, bringing everything together. It's a bit of a shorter lecture next week because we need to go and ensure we start doing all the presentations for you guys, which basically is going to be starting next week. So remember, there's a presentation that is relevant for your assignment that you need to go and be completing. But yeah, that's gonna all be happening next week to be able to go and ensure we get the right outcomes delivered there. So yeah, just make sure that you're gonna continue working very hard on the task for the next week or so to be able to really reach the right.
Yep.
All right, guys, so I have a question that was asked to me, and I just want to make sure I note in the recording about who do we actually speak to if we basically don't know who our group members are. It's very simple. You basically need to go and speak to your tutor. But the first thing you need to do is you need to go and check the email that has been sent, your SISC email, because all the actual emails were sent out about who you actually need to go and communicate with, who is your group members. And if you don't know who they are, you email your lecturer, and then the lecturer will be able to give you that information. But I just want to say there's only 1 week left, not much time left. So it's very important to make sure you work very, very hard, because it is not a small assignment. There's a lot of work that is actually going to be required to get the right outcome. There's, for example, a mapping you need to go and do, and that's just an exercise by itself. Obviously, these are the details about the people you need to go and engage with in case you have any questions. So there's me, there's Dr. Hafiz, and there's Dr. Ray. So you can speak to any of us. We'll be very happy to assist you. If you have a question relating to your groups, it's obviously best to speak to your lecturer, because they are the one who basically assigned the groups for the particular classes. If you don't get a feedback or you don't get a response, being the subject coordinator, you can contact me, and I'll be very happy to go and escalate it and try to go and help you in a prompt manner. This is very important to go and mention today because of the copyright. So do not copy anything. Do not copy anything that's going to go and result into having an academic misconduct case basically being occurring. So it's very, very important to ensure you're doing the right thing at the right outcome. I just want to mention, if anybody had a case of academic misconduct in the first assignment and is not sure what the outcome of that academic misconduct, it's very important you speak to me before you leave today, or you email me, because we've made the communication about what the outcome is, and following that communication, a few people haven't submitted their assignment. So if they don't submit the new assignment, basically they get a straight 0 on that assignment, because it is basically academic misconduct. So if anyone is in that boat, you can actually make sure you speak to me, and I'll be able to guide you on what needs to go and happen. Recap from a previous webinar, we spoke about the strategic management requirements. We spoke about it's very important to plan what we would like to go and do. But what is actually more important than planning is about implementing to ensure that we've delivered what needs to go and be delivered. We spoke about the positioning and managing of information system and IT in an organization. We spoke about things, for example, about who should go and make any particular decisions. How should those decisions be made? Who is going to be accountable to ensure that those decisions are properly delivered? And if they're not delivered, who is going to be kind of managing that particular situation to deal with the actual issue? We spoke about the functional view of IS and IT, and we moved to an organization-wide perspective. So we said it's not simply about the lowest level, it's about having the capability and the competence to be able to go and get the job done. So we spoke about the resource level, having the people who have the right skills, who have the right knowledge to be able to go and get the job done. And we spoke about the organizing level. You might have the great people, but you don't have any information about the process that those people need to be using to be able to go and ensure we are able to go and achieve the outcome we would like to go and actually achieve. We spoke about the enterprise level. You want people to go and achieve something, that's great. But the question that is very simple is, what do you want those people to actually go and achieve? You need to really go and know exactly what is the organization trying to go and deliver, at any particular point of time. If you don't know what they're going to go and deliver, then these people don't know what they need to learn to be able to go and get the job done. One other thing to actually bear in mind is if you don't know what you want to deliver and how you're going to deliver it, you're not going to be able to have a process to be able to go and really get the job done. So it all really fits together, from moving from a simple functional view to an organization-wide view, how everything fits together to be able to reach the right goals. We spoke about IT governance and IS governance. Why it's important? Because if you're not going to go and manage the delivery of all of your information system and IT services, how are you going to make sure that the outcome that you're supposed to go and deliver are actually being delivered? The outcome is it's going to be very hard for you to judge what is basically being delivered. We speak about so many decisions that we need to go and actually manage. What are they? Funding. How is it going to be available? Where is it going to come from? And so on. The creation of an appropriate strategy that is going to be meeting with our business requirements and needs. Things like the IT security, how are we going to actually manage that? Think about all of these changes that goes and occur in practice. How are we going to go and ensure we are going to go and implement all of these changes within the organization? That's something we need to go and know about. We spoke about creating the organizing framework for information system and IT decision making. Who has the authority to make all of these decisions? Who is responsible to go and monitor that we are actually delivering what we said we are going to be delivering at a particular point of time? There's a few things to go and really mention in terms of what we're trying to go and deliver. We spoke about instruments of governance, structural instruments, social instruments, to name a few. Structural could be what is the actual organizational structure, who's going to be reporting to who, who's going to be doing what to be able to go and reach the right goals. We spoke about social. How do we get people to be able to go and work together, interact together, to be able to go and reach and deliver the right outcomes we need to go and actually do. Today we are going to be talking about 10 important points about this whole management. So we're going to talk about creating and sustaining business change, projects and services. We talk about the need for the strategic management of information system and IT services and IT infrastructure. We spoke about the information system and IT services categories. We're going to speak about the managing of operational and value enabling services. We're going to speak about the strategies for managing IT infrastructure and infrastructure services. We're going to talk about understanding and managing IT risks. We're going to go and talk about sourcing of IS and IT resources and services. And we're going to talk about business process outsourcing, where we're going to go and outsource the work we do within the organization. We're going to go and outsource to someone else. We're going to talk about innovation and outsourcing. So if you're going to go and give the job to someone else, are they going to go and be innovating to be able to go and get the right outcomes? So are they going to go and say, we are constantly going to be making an improvement that is going to be matching what our client actually wants? And finally, we're going to talk about back sourcing and switching suppliers. So you're going to make an outsourcing relationship with people. You're going to have to go and decide later, am I going to go and maintain that outsourcing relationship, or am I going to go and actually make some changes down the track because the contract has expired and let's say this person was not the best person to be able to go and do the job for us. So is that really the sort of things we need to go and actually do? Now, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about the things we're trying to deliver, when we talk about creating and sustaining change, it is really created through all of these projects. Projects goes and deliver something. They deliver an outcome for us as an organization. They deliver something that we are able to go and ensure people are going to be using within the organization at that particular point of time. It's about really concerned with delivering a defined capability to an agreed time scale and cost. So we're going to go and deliver something within any specific timeline to be able to go and get the job done. Delivering this capability generally requires both organizational and IS/IT changes to produce a business benefit that justified the investment and initiated the project. So you need to make sure that there's that change. If you implement change inappropriately within the organization, what is going to happen is you won't be able to go and really achieve the outcome you would like to go and achieve. It won't actually go and reach your right goal. So it's very, very important to go and create a proper process of change to reach your right outcomes. We should go and make an investment. When I talk about investing money, we have things that move across more than one phases. Okay, the phases eventually lead to delivering the change. Once you deliver the change, let's say through a project, we move to what is known as a service phase. The service phase is about taking that project that I've already delivered and giving it to people within the organization to be able to go and deliver the service for that particular thing that I delivered. So for example, if I was a project team, and as a project team, I went and I delivered a specific application, that application needs to go and be delivered now to a service department to be able to go and manage your day-to-day support activities. For example, if someone want to go and create a login for that new application that has been developed, you're not going to go and give it to the project team to create a user login. You're going to give it to the help desk team. It is their job to be able to go and do that particular task. So it's really about trying to ensure we're going to go and make all of those changes until we're going to go and reach and realize all of these benefits we would like to go and realize at any particular point of time. So it's about how do we do all of these things to be able to go and reach the outcome, moving from a project to a service that we are going to be really supporting. And if you look at this graph, it basically shows you a couple of areas, or actually 3 areas. It shows you at the bottom, on the top, you know, we have a business, we have an IS and IT strategy. We have a governance way to go and manage your principles, priorities, rules, and so on. And then we have a business case. A business case is about ensuring we are going to find and implement projects that are going to help us deliver that particular strategy. And once we go and deliver that business case, it's going to go and actually get to a particular area. So once we have that case, we get to the area at the end, we decide, okay? We decide what we want to work on as a project. We have that project, we start working on it. We're going to execute that plan. That will help me to go and deliver the outcome I would like to go and deliver. And eventually it will help me to go and evaluate how I've worked in terms of delivering projects, whether I've made any issues, whether I've made any mistakes, whether I wasn't basically working very well onto, you know, managing things efficiently. We basically, we try to work in a specific manner to be able to go and make sure we keep on improving how we go and deliver things. So you talk here on this side, we're having all of these transparency in decision making. We have business value that we're focusing on delivering at any point of time. If there's no value being delivered, if the business case says there is no value that we are going to be delivering, we are not going to really be implementing any of that within the organization. It's basically a waste of resources. Once we deliver something by, let's say, the project team, we're going to have to deploy it for the business to go and use it. So if I go and I am a developer and I created an application, I need to move that application from being a software to being someone is now able to use that software. So I'm going to go and deploy that software, and I'm going to say install it on, let's say, people's computer, and say, you can now sit down and install it and use it. It's like there's a team that, let's say, developed Microsoft Word, and after it's been developed, they will give it to you and say, install it on your computer. Once it is installed, it's administered, they evaluate whether there's any issue with its performance, and if there's any problems, and especially if there's any problem that keep on reoccurring week in, week out, the problem keep on reoccurring, what do? We identify all of those issues and we actually try to eliminate them. The elimination of them happens by either just making some process changes, but a lot of time, it's really about going to a business case, showing the reason why we need to go and make all of these changes, and going again and making the implementation through the right change and project team within the organization. So we have that balance we would like to go and actually have between the project portfolio that delivers what we want and the service portfolio that goes and manages all of these services that we basically can have because of all of these projects that we are delivering at any particular point of time. So when we talk about the need for the strategic management of IS and IT, what do we mean? Well, there's something called a service level agreement. And service level agreement basically tells you what sort of services am I going to be delivering for you. And not simply that, it also tells you at what timelines do you expect I am going to be able to serve specific things for you. For example, my service level agreement might say, if you have a problem relating to a Microsoft Office application, I will actually go and solve that problem. I will actually evaluate that problem as a priority 3, not very urgent. And I am going to go and resolve that problem within 8 hours for you. I'll acknowledge it, let's say, within 2 hours, and I actually solve the problem within 8 hours. That's what I call a service level agreement. I tell you, Mr. Client, you are an employee in my organization. I am your IT department. I'm telling you there's a service level agreement. I'm telling you this service between me and you is I will deliver all of those services. And what's going to happen is I'm going to deliver it within certain timeline. Just going to try to see because I used to have actually many documentation relating to that. I just want to see if I still have them. It's okay, I'm going to show you, this is an example. This is like a certain example I'm going to show you now. This is an example of an IT service management, a catalog. So you look here and it says, okay, that's an overview, copyright, okay, basic, okay, great, 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 great. Okay, so we have all of these services. So one service is email. The status is production. This is what we're going to deliver. This is the features that we're going to go and do for you. This is the actual, optional features we can give you. This is how we're going to go and deliver it for you. Okay. This is the service hours, the support we're going to deliver. If there's any issue, this is how you go and initiate the service. This is the number for the support. This is how much you're going to have to pay me every time you come and actually access the service. There's no any additional cost. This is the service target, service level agreement. We have to provide availability of 99.9%, and not including scheduled change outages. So scheduled change outages is sometimes we want to make a change within an application. So we go and say, okay, guys, we want to let you know that on this day at this time, we are going to go, and help you to go and implement. We're going to implement a certain change. We're going to, let's say, implement an update for your software, and it's going to happen, let's say, between 11 a.m. at night and 1 o'clock at night time. So it's usually try to do it at a time where it won't actually go and affect the users. But this is an example of service catalog, like messaging, email, knowledge sharing, just to name a few. But there's many, many options. This is just an example of what you will have as a service catalog, something you go and actually deal with and you have to develop in your organization. And usually, IT department would usually have a service level agreement. If it's established, they would have the services that they deliver and so on. Utility of services, what sort of functionality are they going to be delivering? And how much value are they going to actually be delivering to the client? It's all about the value, not simply get me the functionality. It's about getting a functionality that is delivering the value that the client really wants. We need to understand services in the context of IS and IT. It's about all of these services we deliver. What are those services? And I gave you a few examples, messaging and email to name a few. We talk about the Chief Information Officer and IT management. They need to go and ensure they oversee all of those services. They check all of these reporting. They make sure things are being delivered within certain time. They drive change when things are not going to be delivered. They drive change when they see there's an opportunity for us to implement a lot of improvement. This is really all of these things we need to go and think about to be able to make the improvement. So we talk about services. There are so many services and service categories, you know, application services, database services, hardware services, you know, all of these are just examples of various services we try to go and deliver. We need to assess what sort of services am I actually delivering? Is it meeting the technical quality that it needs to be, or is it basically a poor quality service? Technically, do we get a lot of actually messages and a lot of issues and a lot of technical problems at any particular point of time? What about the emotional? Are people actually happy with the service? If you are delivering a well-managed, good technical service with no quality problems, then people are likely to go and be actually happy from your performance. What about the service delivery? Are there any gaps in service delivery? So if is there any difference between what level of service I'm delivering and what sort of service the customer is actually expecting? And if we are underperforming, if let's say I need to go and be ensuring my system is 99.999% available at any point of time, and if my service is only available 95% of the times, this is what we call an underperformance of the service. We need to go and compensate people because of that service issue. And we need to go and try to see how we're going to go and fix it. This is, for example, a problem that happened so many times with Stellastra in the past, you know, because of various IT issues. Sometimes you go and hear a bank can't actually have internet banking for whatever reason. Commonwealth Bank had a similar issue. And every person who was trying to send a transaction at that time, they paid that person $50 back. The dimensions of IS and IT services. For example, what is the value of the service? What value is it really delivering to the people who are we actually engaging with within the organization? So ladies and gentlemen, we look at various services we are trying to be delivering at any point of time. And when we are looking at the services we deliver in an IT environment, we look at them in terms of two specifications. We look at them in terms of the degree of customization of service and a degree of user involvement. In some services, there's low degree of customization and there is a low customer involvement. In other services, there's a high customization, that's here, a high customization, and there's a high user involvement. In others, there's a high customization, but here, there's a low involvement, but high customization. So sometimes we customize the service to exactly meet what the client wants. Sometimes we offer the customer no customization. Sometimes we do the services by speaking to the client directly. Sometimes we do the services by sitting behind the scenes and the customer does not see anything we do. For example, if I talk about the service factory, it is not customizing. It is low customization and it is low customer involvement. For example, you want to manage security of IT. This happens behind the scene. You want to ensure there's enough capacity and network maintenance is happening. Nobody sees that. It's happening behind the scenes. The client doesn't care about it. All what they need to do is when they're going to go and use a service, that service is available. When I talk about a general software release or software upgrades, again, all of this really happen behind the scenes. And we go and implement service level agreement. We go and schedule resources to be available at a specific time. We go and have demand forecasting and capacity development to ensure that when I'm going to go and release something or work on something, it is going to go and actually work well in that particular environment. If I talk about the service shop, it is high customization. I'm customizing the service to what the client wants, but I'm not involving the actual client. So I speak to them first, I know what they want, and then I deal with it. For example, I go and speak to the client and say, what sort of software do you want? And he explained to me all of these things they want. So what do? I go after behind the scene and I do it by myself and I try to do all of that development and release it to a specific point of time. So infrastructure design, technical product evaluation, vendor assessment, all of these things happen behind the scene, okay? But you understand first, what does the client really want from you? You need to hire staff with the right skills. You need to be flexible to what the customer needs. You need to basically prioritize to base what the customer wants you to work on. You have to ensure the quality is maintained. You have to measure that quality to ensure that you are delivering that customization that the client really wants. If I talk about the service model, low customization and high customer involvement. So the services are very specific. We are delivering this service, this service, this service, this service, this service. They're very specific. We don't basically change the service because you want me to. If let's say you say, I want you to come and help me with Apple, and I say we only support Microsoft products, that's it. We only support Microsoft products. But that's only one example. What we need to go and bear in mind is in a help desk environment, you call, you speak to the client, you speak directly to the client, and based on that, they basically tell you, you know, what they want, and you try to basically help them based on this very specific service that you actually offer. Let's say you have an email service, you help them on that service after they call you directly. So there's a high interaction, but there's low customization to their particular needs. Finally, the service boutique. High customization and high involvement. For example, development. For example, consultancy, especially those that very strongly involve the customer. For example, business analysis. For example, system and process design. You need to speak to people, understand what's happening. React to customers' interventions, react to changes. Plan how the change you're going to implement is going to go and cause changes within the organization. Think about hiring the right people. Think about planning resources. Think about managing knowledge. These are a few things to really go and think about. We talk about application development. We talk about provisioning of service strategies. We need to know how we're going to go and develop the application. We need to know how we are going to go and provide the service to the right people. Are we going to do it ourselves? Are we going to go and employ someone to do it? Are we going to outsource? Basically, one of the things we need to go and really bear in mind. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we need to talk about the strategies for managing IT infrastructure and all of these infrastructure services. So we talk about, let's say, defining the IT infrastructure and defining its components. For example, the IT infrastructure could be a physical infrastructure. And that physical infrastructure could have many components, could have servers, could have computers, could have printers, could have cables, could have all of these various things to be able to go and get the job done. And there's actually a process. Let's say you want to come and get an access to a new computer screen. What is the process you need to be able to go and follow to be able to go and ensure that that infrastructure is available where it is actually going to be needed? We need to have a business basis for technology management. In other words, any technology I have needs to be one that is linking directly to the need that is available out there in the market. If I'm not delivering the actual expected need, it's basically a waste of resources. We need to talk about the technology strategies in multi-business unit organizations. Multi-business unit, you might have a Maya as a business unit. You might have Coles as a business unit. You might have Bunnings as a business unit. How much intercompany trading is there going to be? So if you need something, are you going to go and borrow, let's say, a computer from the other company because they already have it? How much business and organizational change is actually going to be happening, which basically might be affecting more than one business area? What about the IT and IS supply side factors? Why do we do it? For example, one of the factors to think about is the economies of scales. If I'm going to go and, let's say, get one company to supply all my actual various areas, well, I'm going to be able to go and get a discount per cost per the actual unit I go and buy. What about availability of people? Do we have enough people to be able to go and do the job ourselves? And the answer a lot of time is no, we don't. So what do? Well, because you don't, what you actually go and do is you're going to go and try to think about things such as outsourcing. Or sometimes there's something called insourcing. Outsourcing is about getting the job to be done by someone outside your business. Insourcing is getting someone from outside the business to be doing the job inside your business. So you might get, let's say, a payroll person to come and do the payroll, but instead of doing it outside the business, they have to do it inside of your business situation. So we need to go and think about all of these IT risks, and we need to manage them. There's a lot of actual threats to IT systems and information. There are specific or targeted criminal threats to IT system and data. For example, someone goes and sends you a virus and try to go and steal your information. You know, what's that? This is basically a very big criminal threat. People are threatening you. All of these big hacking that happens at various point of time. So we need to go and think about how do we go and protect all of our IT systems and data. We're going to talk about a few examples on Wednesday or in your webinar specifically. When we talk about managing risks, we need to think about various components. We need to understand the legal requirements. What are we expected to do legally to manage all of those risks? We need to think about assessing risks. We need to think about assessing the risk, mitigating the risk. What actions am I going to actually take? So if that risk becomes a reality, it won't have so much of a big impact. We need to go and think about developing a response plan. If something was to happen, how are we going to respond? We need to talk about the IT risk management policies and procedures that we follow at any particular point of time. We need to talk about evaluation and assessment. Are we managing risks in an appropriate manner? If we're not, what are we going to be doing? So next time we're going to be faced with a similar risk, we are going to be ensuring we are much better managing that risk to be able to reach the right goals. Now, a lot of time we need to go and source various resources and services. We might do stuff inside the organization, or we might give things to people outside our organization to be able to go and really do. When I talk about all of these sourcing, we need to classify sourcing options and strategies. Why are we sourcing? For example, we might want to go and create what we know as a commercial exploitation. It's like I have all of these assets. They are available. They are used. I want to use all of those strategies. I want to use them to be able to go and implement all of those assets externally in another area to be able to go and reach the right goals. It's very, very important. We're going to go and do that exploitation to be able to go and reach the right goals. Outsourcing rationale and decision guidelines. Why are we doing it? Are we doing it because we don't have enough people? We don't have resources. We're doing it because we can't innovate very much, and that company is very, very innovative, and they are going to give me something that is much better than what I have within my business. We go and actually outsource because it's going to be much more cheaper for me to be able to go and do, and it's going to basically create much more benefit. We do it because it's going to go and give me, economy of scale and making things much more cheaper per unit of items I'm actually producing at a particular point of time. There are so many risks associated with outsourcing. You might give something for someone else to go and do, and that person turned out to be telling me about some obvious costs, but other people might actually not have the obvious costs. Other costs might be actual hidden costs, and we're not sure about any of those hidden costs, so they basically come and suddenly they go and appear. For example, training people is a big cost that a lot of people always or often forget how important it is and don't actually calculate it very, very well, leading to go and have an underestimation of how much that outsourcing process is going to actually go and cost me. Think about, things such as you're going to go and try to deal with people and they turn out to be delivering a very poor customer service. You might be talking with people and they might have a very poor culture and they don't like to actually go and innovate. These are some of the risks you might think about when it comes to outsourcing your work and giving it to someone else to be able to go and do. Now, when you think about business process outsourcing, it is about taking this business process and try to give it to someone else to go and do. Let's say finance, let's say accounting, let's say technology. You go and take it out and you give it to someone else to be able to go and do this job. Now, a few things to go and really know about in terms of that. What are they? Well, the things to really go and know about is there's a lot of complexity that tends to happen when you're trying to go and create business process outsourcing. So you might actually go and create more complexity in your process to be able to create the integration between more than one department to be able to go and reach the right goals. Another thing to actually go and think about is independence, for example, can be changed without affecting other processes. Can I actually make one change without having to go and impact on every other process that is available out there all around me? The third thing to go and actually know about is a strategic importance, okay? That is a process that affords the organization a competitive advantage. Am I going to be able to go and get a competitive advantage as a result of delivering any particular work that needs to go and be done? So the process affords the organization a competitive advantage. When an organization outsources its services, there is often an actually that you are going to be working with someone, and that someone is going to actually going to go and create changes, make a new innovation, and try to operate in a much better manner. The truth is, however, that a lot of times when you go and try to actually outsource, you can't actually go and get all of these outcomes to be delivered appropriately. You don't always try to go and reach the outcomes because you might be working with someone and these guys don't even care about anything called innovation. So you might be very committed as an organization to go and make a change, to innovate, to make an improvement, to be able to ensure things are going to be done in a much better, improved manner. But the person you're working with is a person who really don't care about any of that. And that basically means that you won't have a very successful relationship because you are not dealing with the right people in the first instance. So to be able to reach the right goals, it is very important that you go and make sure you are working with the right people who basically are going to value the quality of the work you're trying to deliver to reach your right goals. They want to basically be motivated and committed to that relationship, which together, when you work with you and them together, you are able to go and reach your right goals. Now, a lot of times you go and outsource, and what's going to happen after you outsource, you're going to go and try to think about what am I going to do in terms of after outsourcing? Am I going to go and get things to be done back within my organization? So the main options that we might have, you might go and say, all right, I outsource to you. I am going to renew the contract with you. Another option might be, I gave you the contract, but I want to renew with you, but I want to reduce my services if you deliver. Or I'm going to go out there to the market again. I'm going to try to go through the recruitment process again from the beginning. Or I'm going to go and try to bring that process back to be done inside my organization. And I'm not going to worry about doing things externally because that's not how we go and operate ourselves. It's going to be done in a totally different manner. So there's more than one way you might choose to go and do when it comes to back sourcing and switching suppliers. Research suggests many reasons for organizations choosing to actually back source or bring back in-house what they have already outsourced outside. One reason given by Dell is because the customers that they basically had were very unhappy. They were very, very unhappy with the way that things have worked. They were very unhappy with the new way of service. It's basically, they saw it as service actually declining. And because of that decline, people were very unhappy, and basically Dell found that they needed to go and bring their call centers back to America to be able to get back that customer satisfaction. There might be problems that arise during the contract or failures to achieve specific objective by the outsourcing company. There might be that IT is now being seen as a strategic, more important thing within the organization. And they say, you know what, if I bring it back inside my business, I am able to go and get back the control, and I'm able to go and get the positive outcome that I would like to go and achieve at a particular point of time. There might be changes in the business or economic environment and business strategies that basically say, I need to bring things back indoors because, let's say, it's cheaper. There might be a change in technology, and that outsourcing company doesn't have the technology while your company does. There might be a management change, and while the old management believe that outsourcing is the best, the new management might go and say, you know what, we don't want to go and outsource. We're going to go and try to find a new approach to doing things that is not very, very appropriate. So they may go and say, we need to do things in a brand new, different manner. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to the end of the topic that we would like to go and cover for today. Does anybody have any questions about any of the items that I've actually covered today? Anybody have any questions at all? All right, so there's no questions. Anybody have any assessment questions? When is your assessment due?
February 1.
Okay, what time? What time?
11:30 maybe, sir.
It's 11 p.m. Do you need a cover page?
Is it the same as the other ones?
Do you need an assessment cover page? You know?
The cover sheet?
Cover sheet. Do you need a cover sheet?
So isn't it the same as the other ones?
As the other assignment, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, yes, it is really the same, but I'll just make sure that some people don't seem to know about it. So I'm going to go and show you. If you go to the assessment section, you'll be able to see an assessment cover sheet. So you just open that and you fill the details. There's 2 pages, so your staff details would be able to be filled on the second page. But there's basically a page that is available for assessment cover sheet. And another thing you need to bear in mind, when you are writing your work, there's only one person submitting the work to Moodle, not more than one person. Another thing I want to kind of mention that is really, really important, I want to make sure that in your assignment, you create a table like this one. So make sure you speak with your groups. You create a table, name of team member 1, name of team member 2, name of 3, however members there are. Or you can put it like this. You put how much contribution they've done, and you write details about their contribution here. That information is very, very important in terms of us deciding what mark we grant to various people. One other thing you need to bear in mind is when you submit your work to Moodle, you have a section for your report and a section for your presentation. So make sure that both uploaded. Okay, here, no zip file, and here, no zip file. Preferably Word document is submitted here, and a PowerPoint or PDF is submitted here. But I want to make sure that this is actually submitted on time, no delays whatsoever. Any question on any of the stuff that I've just communicated?
So our presentation is due on February 1 as well. So do you want us to present on Monday or? So
your presentation will start happening in your webinar. So if your webinar is on Wednesday, you're going to start presenting on Wednesday. If your webinar is Thursday or Friday, you're going to be starting to present on a Thursday or a Friday. But we cannot delay this, because if you delay it, you won't be able to get your mark released, and you won't be able to do the other subjects you want to go and enroll in if your mark is not basically released at any particular point of time, especially that there is a a prerequisite for many of the subjects. So it's very, very important that your job is done and submitted on time. Your presentations are done on time, because otherwise we can't actually finalize and release your marks. That is important, especially before your exam goes and actually start. I already know when your final exam is going to be. Do you want me to tell you?
Yes, sir.
So your final exam, I believe it is going to be on the 18th. If the date doesn't change, it's going to be between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. So that's what I have at this current point, unless anything does change. Any questions, my friends?
So you want us to upload the slides on February 1, yeah? Just the
yes, because I don't want any delays. You submit them there, and it's best if you put them as a PowerPoint. Sorry, it's best if you put it as a PDF. It's easy for you to put it as a PDF, the presentation slides. So save the presentation slides as a PDF, and we'll be able to look at it accordingly. Any questions? Any other questions?
Sir.
All right, guys, just a few things, please don't leave. The first one is, please make sure you do your task for this week, read chapter 11, continue working on the group assessment, which is due on Monday in week 11. And thank you very much for your time. Have a great day. There's just only one more thing I would like to go and actually do, but that's after I finish my recording. So thank you for all the recording. If there's any questions you have, you can ask